Hello friends, my name is Rishavraj and I'm a first year student at Bits Pilani. And today with me is Kshitij Bhaiya, who is a graduate from Bits Pilani. After that, he will continue. So, hello Bhaiya.
Hello everyone, my name is Kshitij. I'm from Indore and I did my BE Triple E from Bits Pilani campus, and I would be joining Texas Instruments very soon as a full-time as an analog engineer.
Yeah, and now I would like to tell you about this series. So, this is a series in which we bring one of the most talented people out there in every branch, and we ask them about the overview of the courses in their second and third year. Because in Bits, we have almost every branch, every course from every branch in our first year. But in our second year and third year, we specifically study our own branch. So that's the main purpose, so that we get to know what is our branch and all, and it will help you make an informed decision if you are coming into Bits this year or you are in your first year. Then it could help you know about your course. Okay, so first of all, Bhaiya, I would like to know about electrical engineering. What is, you can just give an overview of the courses in second and third year.
So in Triple E, as the name specifies, you will be studying mostly about electrical and electronics, and the major focus would be on the electronics domain. So the electrical domain usually deals with power generation and how power is supplied to various stations, how machines like generator, DC motor, in three-phase inductive motors, how they work. So this is basically the part of electrical. In electronics, what we study is that how, like for example, we know that all the computer chips that we are using, they are made out of silicon. So how exactly do we make a diode, a transistor, and how we first study the physics behind these devices, and how we can use these devices to build various amplifiers and digital circuits. So this is briefly what we study in Triple E. Apart from this, you would also be studying introductory courses to fields like the control theory. Then you'll also have the field of signals, and for that you would be having courses like electromagnetic theory, signal and system, where you would be dealing at how exactly are signals transmitted, and how do we solve the, if we want to represent them in a mathematical way, how can we represent them in either a time domain or in frequency domain. And there's also another field which is which is basically a combination of both electrical and electronics, which is power electronics. So in that you would be dealing how the circuits that we study for electronics, that is MOSFETs and BJT, how they are used for high voltage applications for electrical applications. So that comes under power electronics. So this is basically a brief overview of what you study in Triple E. Yeah, that's it from my side.
So, if a person has just passed out from class 12th, so is there something like relatable? Like I think that semiconductor is one of the topics which is later taught.
Yeah, but the issue with semiconductor is that it's a JEE mains topic. So
Yeah,
many of us actually do not study it and just read the book once for the boards or like for BitSat.
yeah.
People do not focus on the topic so much.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would suggest that the topic of semiconductor is very crucial in courses like electronic devices, which is actually a foundation for the further Triple E courses. Also, I would like to add that in 11th and 12th, we study courses like we have certain introduction to RC circuits and LC oscillations,
Yeah.
resonance. These are also very important topics in analog electronics. So if a person actually like topics like these, he would be able to like Triple E as well. If I could add one more thing, like many people, what they do is that in the 11th and 12th classes, they might try projects based on Arduino or Raspberry Pi, and these are related to the IoT field of electronics, which is an elective in our college, not a compulsory course. But it is also a very interesting field, and people interested in this field can have a great career in IoT or embedded systems. So that is also a good thing to know whether you are interested in electrical electronics or not.
So एक question है मतलब वो नहीं था उसमें, but I'm asking right now. So many people are interested in robotics before they come into college. So is electrical and electronics related to robotics? Like, does it have a major role to play?
Yeah, sure. See, robotics mainly from what I know is based on computer science. You need to code the robot.
Yeah.
You will have some mechanical parts, and you have to supply some power. You need to control how the robot moves. So the power supply and the control systems. These are a very important part of Triple E. So obviously, a person who is well versed with the relevant courses in Triple E, he could do good in robotics as well. Robotics is just not Triple E; it's basically a mixture of these three different branches. So yeah, good knowledge in Triple E would obviously help you in this field.
Okay. So yeah, the next question is how difficult is Triple E? Like before I came to Bits, I had this rumor that it is very difficult and everybody talks about it. So I want to know like
Yeah, so
what
the
is.
thing about Triple E, at least in your second year, specifically the 2-1 semester, is that you would be having loads and loads of tube tests. So, for example, there's a course as digital design. Out of 12 working Mondays or Tuesdays that we had, I guess we had a test on 10 or 11 out of them. And
Okay.
that's true for many courses like in the coming semester as well. So the issue with triple E is that the courses, they have a lot of content in each of them, and they test you at regularly, so you are going to have high number of tube tests. So what people use, many people used to think that okay, I'll give the tube test as it is and I'll study mainly for the midsem or the compre, which
Yeah.
is actually not possible in triple E. Triple E requires continuous efforts throughout your second and third year. Another thing is that the courses are in a hierarchical order. So, for
Hmm.
example, if you do not properly understand the CDCs of your second year, they might create an issue when you go to your third year. So, to properly understand, you need to have a good grasp of all the subjects together. So, this is the reason why people think that triple E is hectic. But I would like to say that if a person studies regularly, is goes to lecture continuously and prepares well for the tube test, he should be able to score and understand well in triple E.
So, but I feel like people who generally like to study continuously, like every day, like for some amount of time, they would like this fact that there are a lot of tube tests and it would.
Yeah, I surely enjoy this
Yeah.
because one factor that I enjoy about this is that, for example, if let us suppose before the midsem you already have 4 or 5 tube tests, so
Hmm.
you have actually studied much of the syllabus in small
Yeah.
small portions. So
Hmm.
during the midsem or the compre, you just need to revise all the topics thoroughly.
Yeah.
So I like the system, but yeah, it gets hectic, especially with during the Pilani winters.
Next, we will talk about the future possibilities of Triple E because I think, like many people say, also like CS and Triple E are one of the most sought after branches because of its future possibilities.
Yeah, so for example, in Triple E, the first thing that you can go for is a placement in the core domain.
Yeah.
So during campus placements, most of the placements are in electronic sector are either in digital or analog electronics. Companies for instrumentation and control or communication usually are less in number compared to the companies that come specifically for the electronics domain. Apart from this, one important thing about triple ENI that is different from other branches except CS is that the courses like object-oriented programming, operating systems, and computer architecture, all these are your disciplinary electives. So, if a person is interested in pursuing a field in computer science, he can actually take these electives. And there's another course known as neural networks and fuzzy logic. There's also a disciplinary elective for triple E NI students. So with the proper electives choice, one can easily branch towards an IT side. And companies, most of the companies that came for placements are open for CS, Triple E, and ENI. So
Yeah.
this is another important thing that is good for Triple E and students. Apart from this, is if one is interested in like research, so obviously you can go for a MSN PhD after your B from BITS, and Triple E is you can go for interdisciplinary research as well. As we talked about robotics, so there
Yeah.
are different fields like bio robotics, biotechnology, and where you can specialize. So yeah, after triple E, you will have lots of chances. It's just that you need to choose what you are targeting for after your 4 years.
So, anyone who wants to know about this course would also like to know that what is the most interesting thing in this course. Like different people would have different opinions, but according to you, what was the most interesting thing?
Yeah, so I like enjoyed a lot of subjects that were inclined toward the analog side,
Hmm.
like courses like microelectronic circuits and analog electronics. Another thing that I guess many of my friends did like was the lab in digital design.
Yeah.
So Actually, what happened in the classes was like when you study just the lectures, you don't know how exactly the things work when you try for a practical on a practical side. So that
Hmm.
in a digital design lab, we had great experiments, and the lab compre that we had, it had some very interesting questions, and everyone enjoyed that. Though I agree the test was on a difficult side because you had to think a lot, but yeah, you could actually see that okay, the things that I have learned, how can I apply them and build important circuits using them. So for me, the digital design lab was a very interesting experience. Apart from that, one thing that I enjoyed a lot was the O lab. So in the course analog and digital VLSI design, for assignment in digital VLSI, we had to work in the O lab using the software Cadence Virtuoso. So it was a fun experience to learn the software, and there were around 24 25 computers, and at a time there used to be around 75 to 80 people in the lab. So it was a very good atmosphere. Everyone was doing their projects, helping each other out. So I definitely enjoyed the OLAB as well. And according to me, these two were the best experiences that I got. And coming to the subjects that I liked the most, I think that digital design was an amazing course and many people like it, though the grading is on a bit difficult side. And apart from that, analog electronics and microelectronics circuits.
Yeah, and one more thing, when I was deciding to which should be kept in above preference, like ENI in Pilani or EC in Hyderabad, when I asked this question on the Facebook group, like Bits Queries, then some
Yeah,
people told that there is a lab which is only in Pilani, like electrical
yeah,
lab, yeah, and it is also very
that was
present in only very limited institutes in India or in the Asia, I guess, something like that.
yes. So the lab that I was talking about, the O lab for the digital
Hmm.
VLSI assignment, that is the Oyster lab, and it is a very prestigious lab. It has various important softwares. But the thing is that as an undergraduate, you would be getting only around two projects in ADVD that you would be doing in the O lab. Apart from this, if you take a project under a specific professor, you might be able to use the lab. But mainly as an undergrad, you would be using the O lab for these two projects only. And yeah, the lab is the software there are very nice, and you actually get a feel of VLSI design there. So yeah, I enjoyed the lab a lot.
And EC has also been added this year. So, yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing, if you would like to answer it, can you classify these three? Like, can you differentiate between these three? Triple E, EC, and DNI.
Okay. So as I told, like Triple E is one of the most generic branches in all of these three. What EC does is that it excludes some important electronic courses like power electronics and ADVD, and adds communication based courses. So there you would be specializing only in communication and electronics. In ENI, since it's instrumentation based, you won't be having the electrical based courses, and you would be having courses more on the control theory and industrial instrumentation side. What Triple E does to you is that you would be having courses about communication, electrical, electronics, and instrumentation, all courses. But about courses in instrumentation and communication, you would be just having the introductory courses to them. So, for example, if a Triple E student is interested in communication, he can take different electives to specialize in that field. But for example, if a communication guy wants to go in electrical, it's possible, but he would have to take more number of electives compared to the Triple E guy. So Triple E is the most generic branch out of these three, and according to me, it's the simplest to branch out from any different domain in this electrical and electronics domain. It's easiest to branch out from Triple E compared to ENI or ECE. That's the only difference I believe there is. And yeah, the only drawback of EC that I think regarding to electronics based placement is that the ADVD course, the analog and digital VLSI design, that is very crucial when it comes to your placements. And that is not a part of the EC curriculum. So if a person of EC wants to pursue that, he'll have to take it as an elective. That's the only thing I feel is a bit issue. Otherwise, yeah, all the three branches are good in their different aspects.
Yeah, and I have heard that these three, like ECE, Triple E, and ENI, only differ by 4 or 5 courses. That also in the third year.
Yeah, so I guess between Triple E and ENI, there's a difference of 3 courses.
Yeah,
Between Triple E and EC, I guess there are difference of 4 courses. I'm not sure between the difference of ENI and EC. I
yeah.
know with respect to Triple E, it's 4 courses for EC and 3 courses for ENI.
So yeah, that is it. But like, if you would like to tell something about your placement,
Okay, so I first got a campus placement in my first semester in the fourth year.
yeah,
Then, as you know, we have a practice school system in Bits
yeah,
Pilani.
mm,
So during my PS2, I did a 6 months internship in Texas Instruments. And after the internship, I had an pre-placement interview. And after that interview, I got an offer, and I would be joining the company soon. Like the next week, I would be joining the company.
yeah. And would you like to tell about your CGPA?
I am graduating with a CGPA of 9.59.
If you want to say something else, if you want to add something else, you can tell.
Yeah, I would just like to add one thing that many people, before coming to the second year, they have a perspective that Triple E and ENA are going to be very difficult.
Yeah,
So I would just like to add that before coming to your second year, don't decide things like this. At least give Triple E and ENA one semester, try out the subjects, try to enjoy them, and after your second year or your 2-1, then you would be in a better stage to conclude that whether it's hectic or not. You should not come to your second year thinking that, oh, it's going to be hectic, I won't be able to enjoy it. Come with a clear mind, do not believe what your seniors are saying with respect to this, and decide this on what you feel about the branch.
that's a very genuine advice, I feel, because everyone keeps on haunting, like, oh, you are in ENI,
Yeah,
oh, you
even
are
I
in Triple E.
experienced this.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for coming. This was the end of the video.